Well, Coach, back at it again here after a week. Probably is it 7?
Yeah,
Or
week
is it
7.
6? Okay.
That's right. Yeah,
7 when you don't count the zeros, so it's kind of interesting
technically
way to do math.
week 8, but yeah.
Yeah. So filling in for Clint again. I guess I'm pretty much becoming a 50-50 guy doing this.
We gotta have to do something about him.
Yeah.
See, we're gonna have to cut his pay down in half or something like that, I guess.
But it's one of those deals. I guess he's put in enough years. He's got some brownie points. So
Yeah.
anyway, miss Clint, but want to start by recognizing our sponsors as usual. We got UARM, University of Arkansas Rich Mountain, the Bucks over there. We got Mena Insurance, Sterling Machinery, and Union Bank. Those are our 4 primary sponsors for this Coaches Show Weekly. We really appreciate those guys. All 4 businesses do a lot for the community as well as the school here. And as we always say, without them, the Coaches Show probably wouldn't happen. So really thank those guys and really appreciate what they do for the Bearcats and Lady Cats. But well, Coach, kind of the middle of that 3-game skid we talked about is, well, I guess it's kind of turning into a little bit of a skid. Tough stretch of 3 games here. Second game of it, Nashville comes to town. Nashville's one of those schools, traditional power, always good, always finds a way to kind of get it going. Looked like they'd gotten a slow start this year a little bit. And, of course, lucky us, they find a way to get it on the tracks when they come to Mena. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we talked about their tradition that they have and the tradition with their school and the tradition with this game. And one thing we had talked about was, trying to get our own new tradition started. It's never too early. It's always a good time to start your own new traditions. So, we're definitely disappointed in that game. We expected the game to go how the first quarter and a half went for us. Again, kind of a story of our Achilles heel has been inconsistency and letting things unravel quickly and then trying to dig out of it and having a hard time too. So there's no excuse for it. We didn't get the job done. It was a big game for us. And coaches got to do better, kids got to do better. We all as a team have to do better. And I've got to do a better job of figuring out how to get the most out of our team to put them in better situations to be successful. So definitely a disappointing outcome because we felt like, and we still do feel like, we feel like we're right there with where we need to be to compete and do better in a game like that. But having said that, one of our other big goals is still right there in front of us. I think we learned a lot about ourselves from last Friday. Anytime you have a game like that, it's time to soul search a little bit and figure out, what led you to that point. And so we're excited about the rest of the way through. Like you said, we're in the middle of a 3-game gauntlet here of 3 of the top teams in the state. I've said it 100 times, but all 3 of them suckers finished top 4 in the state last year. So, but at the same time, man, I mean, you're playing a playoff game every Friday night,
right?
And it does a lot better for you if you can hold it together. If you can hold your team, everything together throughout that tough stretch, you come out a lot better for it. I thought we did last year, and I have no doubt we will again this year.
I just wanted to emphasize a little more that stretch of teams. I think most people understand that, but the common fan might not. You go Arkadelphia, Nashville, Malvern. You're talking about several state titles, the defending state champion, and all in one conference. And you go with them 3 weeks back to back to back. The difficulty of that is just pretty much unheard of. And when I was in the truck,
I was going to say, probably just jumping in real quick on that, state titles, I'm just thinking of it, the last 10, 12 years, they've probably won, at least 5 or 6 state titles between them, at least. And so anyway, sorry.
And you stretch it back, I've not quite been out of school 20 years, but Nashville had a run there where they won 3 back to back to back. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think of, and not that rankings matter, but I was driving home after the game, and I think it's Rex Nelson or whoever does the post-game high school show, and you got, Warren Malvern is basically 1A, 1B. Then you got Arkadelphia right in the mix, and you got Nashville who's getting better. And, they're right there with those guys. So you talk about that stretch of teams and games that we've got to go through, and it's unbelievably crazy and tough. But I think it's where you can build some character, and that's one of those deals. If you're the 4 or the 5 out of our conference, you have a realistic chance of going and winning 1 to 2 playoff games.
Absolutely, and we're never going to back down from a challenge. We're never going to say we don't. We believe that we belong. I mean, we've competed well in this conference in years past, and then been some years that we've struggled in this conference. But we don't believe in running from any challenges, and we're full believers in that every one of these games make us better. They make us who we're going to be. And, you know, when you play these teams, you play these games, like I said, it's like a playoff game every Friday night. You're going to be hard pressed to find better teams in the postseason than what you played in the regular season.
Absolutely.
You know, for us, it's something that we run to, and we want to be right there for us. We want to be in that conversation of everything. We don't want to just be we're at the point, we're not quite where we need to be, obviously, yet, but we're tired of just saying, oh, we're getting there, we're competing. No, we're ready to start getting in that conversation.
And winning those games.
And so we got some work to do, and there's no better way to do it than go, swim with the sharks. So that's
sure.
what we're gonna do.
Well, it's like I said, I mean, there's years, just to tidy that up, I mean, there's years you can finish fifth in 7-4A and you could be a top 10 team in 4A, as crazy as that sounds. So let's jump into the week. You kind of mentioned a little bit the good start. I think we went, we had a little bit of drive pieced together. We took the ball off the kickoff and had to punt, but then they have a long drive all the way down the field, and we had a phenomenal fourth down stop.
Yeah, great stop starting out, and we had a huge drive. I think it was an 18-play drive.
3 possessions in the first quarter is what I think there was.
Yeah,
total.
So a great first quarter for us overall. Second quarter got a little bit choppy, and then the end of the quarter, again, we let it get away from us in the start of the third quarter with the big kickoff return, kind of deflated us a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to say, 26-7 at half. It's kind of like the week before. Really, you're in the ball game. If you come out and have a good defensive stop, you're right there in it. But like you said, like you mentioned, you kind of gave up the big kickoff return. They're able to punch it in, and then all of a sudden you're looking at a 33-7 game instead of 26-7 there, right?
And there were a lot of different factors in there, right? I mean, you had the onside kick that they recovered.
Sure.
Right after their first score. And,
questionable onside kick.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, they touched it early, but
sure.
It wasn't called, and so we have to be able to overcome it. We can't sit and hang on that. And that one onside kick sure didn't cost 40-something points, but we have to be able to overcome that. But it was a huge swing of momentum, and then we give up those points at the end of the half. Decide not to onside kick right out of the gate because I felt like our defense was playing okay. We felt like there was some good things we were seeing defensively, and we felt like if we gave them a long field, we could get the ball back, look to drive and score. But unfortunately, they got a good return out of the kickoff and got down and got another short field for the defense. So
sure,
it just kind of all
kind of
piled
same
onto
story
us. Yeah.
2 weeks in a row. I feel like the defense, as crazy as it sounds, 51 a week ago, and then 45 again this week. It's just, short field, it's impossible almost in high school football to stop people on short fields.
And we're doing too much of that. We're putting them in a bad situation. We're giving them, like you say, exactly right. We're giving them short fields. We're making them play too much defense over the last couple of weeks. And, the old saying that sometimes your best defense is your offense.
Sure.
Keeping them out there, that's true. So, again, you'd look no further than that in the first quarter. We come out, we falter out our first offensive series. They get the long drive, and then we get a long drive out of it. And we take the lead 7-0 right there. If we're able to sustain that all the way through, then, good things can happen. So.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of the same deal again where, when you're having to defend fourth downs instead of just defending third down and then punt, forcing punts on fourth. That's a big difference in high school football especially.
Yeah, when they know they're able to go for it in 4-down territory.
Right.
And we're getting teams in third and fourth downs. That's happening. That's good. We've limited big plays. I had something a few weeks ago that we weren't doing a good job on. So we've really limited those big powerhouse. But we're still giving up a couple too many that we feel comfortable with. But we're making more plays in space, limiting the big plays. Again, but the unfortunate thing is 10-15 yard gain is a big play on a short field.
Yes, sir. Let's get into a few of these highlights here.
Yeah, so you mentioned earlier, really proud of our defense coming out of the gate. That we falter out on offense right out and put it away, and defense has their offense has a good drive, and this is the third down here, and it's just really proud of these guys, blowing their back up and playing hard and getting down there, and that's the big third down stop, and this leads us into the fourth down stop here. So 4th and 2, they put their running back here at quarterback like a wildcat position, and a really good job by sophomore Jimmy Glenn getting down the line, and Brody Peters on a blitz as well. Coach Harlan made a great call here, sending Brody off the edge, and Brody did a good job adjusting. You see how he kind of cuts it inside. It gets flatter there. You know, a big mistake that a lot of linebackers do is they'll blitz, but they'll run upfield and just run past that runner. You know, so this is just a good experienced linebacker, Brody, who had 18 tackles on the night, making a huge play for us, and that led to us to a pretty good drive here. Third down here. This is our next offensive drive. A really good job by Sean Sullivan. He's our really good route runner. Does a good job sticking a comeback here, making a tough catch. And Sean's done a really good job making those tough catches all year long.
Sean had a good night, it felt like.
Yeah, I mean, he had 4 catches for about 74 yards and a touchdown, and could have had a couple more as well. But a big third down conversion right here on this first drive. And good job by Dax there stepping in, and takes a little pop at the end and making a good throw. So good throw and catch. And then we did kind of get a combination here of Brody Peters and Michael Sullivan. Again, a pretty deadly combination of running backs here. And this is our little heavy set. Again, this is a 4th down conversion on that drive, and I'm really proud of our 4th down conversions. That is something we've struggled a time with or two. You know, against Lincoln, that hurt us not getting the 4th down conversion. And you know, we've done better at that now in this game as well. We went for it on a 4th down on being down a touchdown, and we didn't get a call there. So, you know, it's catch win, but we're going to be aggressive. We're going to go try to win the game. We have faith in our kids, and we're not playing to lose a game. Michael doing a good job here of getting the snap, running hard. He's running really hard. You see it. One thing I've noticed about him, just rewatching film and whatnot, is his knees. You know, he's picking his knees up when he's running, and that's bringing his power. And again, a really good 4th down conversion there. And then a good job here. Of course, if you watch us play any football last year and a half, you know this is a good play for us.
That's my favorite play right there.
And Brody's really good at running this, and just a good job sticking his nose inside, but then bouncing outside of a block and getting some good yardage here. Just running really hard. And, both those guys were excellent on this drive, and we were able to finish it off here with a rushing touchdown. And a good job by Ryder House, young sophomore in here, getting to play a little age, and just a really physical football player. And he's earned some playing time. Just, you know, that's why we, you know, tell these kids all the time, like, we're watching you in practice too. And Ryder's a kid in practice who goes 100 miles an hour and is physical and gives us great looks and wants to be on the field. And so he's able to get in on this play, does a good job sealing off a linebacker. The offensive line does a really good job, opens up, and Brody does a good job leading for Mike, and Mike gets in the score here. So huge momentum shift. You know, we're a minute left in the first quarter here, taking the lead, and super exciting play there. Super exciting play.
I'll cut you off. I want to look at the sideline.
Yeah.
The enthusiasm, the stadium in the first quarter might have been the best atmosphere we've had in a long time at Bearcat Stadium, I felt like.
It was, and you know, that's what's a little disappointing with how you finish that up, because you wish you'd maintained that. Of course, it's not anybody. It's just the fact that we were let it get away from us in the end. That's another facet of the disappointment of the game.
Sure.
And whatnot. But yeah, they were awesome. The crowd was awesome. Nashville had a good crowd. Mena had a good crowd, and we were loud and a really good play there. So I think our pass defense has improved throughout the year. We really struggled with that early on, and you know, we did have a bust or two here and there as well Friday night. But overall, I think we've done a lot better in our pass coverage. And you know, for example, right here, you know, now catch 22 here. Good job by Tripp jumping in front of this ball and you know, getting a pass break up here and recognizing it. But we also want to just go ahead and finish that drive off. And,
you know our family well. We had that conversation at Sunday dinner. You know, Tripp understands that's one he needs to complete right there.
And he knows that. And but still a good job seeing it, recognizing it, because you know, this is just again a young player that's continuing to get better every week, because in the past he would have just been running with that guy and wouldn't have never broke on that ball.
Right.
So we're getting there, we're getting closer, but again, and he wasn't the only one. I think there was another opportunity we had to pick one off, and then another missed tackle in a crucial moment. But that's something we have to be a little bit better at too, because they end up scoring off of this drive. It's 20-7 with a minute and a half to go. We have to keep them out of the end zone. We have to. And we're not able to get that done. But a good play here. I wanted to highlight that of a good break on the ball, a good job by those guys, and another good job in coverage here. Number 10 for them is a dangerous player. He's this receiver here at the bottom. He got us mainly, they did a lot of quick screen stuff, and he's tough to cover, and they're really, really good at that. But another good job by our secondary here. We wanted to double him all night, and you can see we got two guys on him now. Later on in the game, we busted that coverage, and we left him one-on-one, and he was able to score. And so it just goes to show you the importance of, man, when we're doing the right things, we're doing everything, following our game plan, we're right there competing and doing what we're supposed to be doing. And so we're seeing glimpses of that. Now we just got to string that together more. But a really good job by Jackson Baber and Tripp there of getting over the top of two and making them tough catches. And Hyatt Hernandez is still covering very well. I don't have a clip in here of him, but we watched the film on Monday morning, obviously. And he's doing a good job breaking in and making those catches hard on those guys. We like to see that. So
they're going to see on film at some point how he's kind of coming for you a little bit.
That's right.
Receiver.
That's right. Towards the end of the game here, we're still playing hard, still trying to get better, and a good throw and catch by Sean and Dax and Sean. So Sean kind of shows you a little bit of his speed here. Does a good job breaking away from tackles, and a good throw and catch here by these two guys.
Another good route, looked like.
Yeah, good route, and in a game where at the end you can see it's kind of out of hand at that point, and we're 7 minutes left. It's for all intents and purposes, what do you do at that point? Well, you still continue to work to get better for your next game, your next week in practice, and whatever it is you don't ever stop. You don't ever just say, okay, we're just going to hand the ball off and get out. No, we're not going to do that. We're continually working. Even in a game like that, you can continually work to still see, what you need to work on, where you need to be, and what you need to do better.
Well, there's 6 days that lead up to that too, that you've worked your tail off, and it's
That's right.
nice to go reward yourself with
exactly
scoring a few touchdowns here and there.
And that's something we've talked about. I mean, football's just different. I mean, it's super special, right? Because on a Friday night, that's all there is.
Right.
There's not a junior high game. There's not any other game before it. You're not playing multiple games a week. You're not. It's not. Basketball and baseball and volleyball and every other thing in the world. You're playing 2-3 games, maybe more. But in football, you get one shot at it per week, and it's every 7 days. And when you win a game, those 7 days can be pretty fun. And when you lose a game, those 7 days can be pretty stressful. And it just kind of, you kind of feel that itch and that drive and that desire to get back out there and play again. And so, but it's something special, to be the only game on a Friday night wherever you're at. So.
Right. It's kind of funny you mentioned that, Coach. Brian and I talked earlier today, and then it came from something he said months ago, and then Reed talked with his boys this week. Is you get 30 of these. You're guaranteed 30 high school football games, and they're special. I mean, you'll never get them back. You'll never do it again. You'll never be able to physically hit somebody in public the way you can in a football game. And trying to find ways to stay on the field, trying to find ways to make them count, things of that nature. It's a very small window, short window, and it's hard for a young man to probably understand that. But I think that's something that's an angle I think they need to hear is like, hey guys, you get 30 of these and that's it.
And that's the same thing. We talked to our guys too. One thing I tell them is you'll never be able to replicate it. It's kind of what you were saying. That football is the one sport you can't replicate it. I mean, you can play in your men's league softballs, and you can play some pickup basketball and play golf as a lifetime sport or whatever, but you'll never be able to put helmet pads on and be physical and play football the way it's supposed to be played ever again.
Sure.
And we're all written our time. Bearcat football is going to be here long after our current players are there, long after I'm gone, anybody else. We're all written our time. So what we do with that and what we contribute to our program and our school is vitally important. And you look back on it, you're right, it is hard. They're kids, right? They have 100 million other things going on too. And I think we tend to, people tend to forget that sometimes, but the bottom line is it's got to be important to you. It's got to matter. You got to play for your school, and you got to realize, once it clicks and you realize, hey, we have a countdown clock every day, or every game, every week, shows our opponent, and the clock's counting down, to 7 o'clock on Friday night. One of the things I like to say is, hey, they're not adding time to that clock, that they're taking time away. So kind of a visual reminder that each day, each passing day is a day that's passing that's gone. So, we're lucky to get to do what we do.
Well, we need to move on, I know, but I do want to talk about it a little bit more. You mentioned it in there, Brody having 18 tackles. I think that's something that's a big deal. I think that the effort it takes to do something like that is a big deal.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, he's come a really, really long ways. He's a two-way guy playing a really tough position. I mean, it's hard. It's hard playing two ways no matter what position you're playing, but especially playing a running back and then playing a linebacker. You're playing two positions that are pretty much getting banged and popped.
I would assume he's calling the defense too, probably.
Yeah, right. He is. Yeah, he's the one that's wearing the band on the defensive side, and Coach Arnold's giving him the calls. And
so the mental side that comes with that's huge.
Yeah, there's a whole lot there, but he's really become a special linebacker, and he'll continue to grow. And he does a good job mentoring those kids too, because we got some young guys coming up through it. And again, Sean Sullivan, he had 11 tackles himself.
Wow.
Out there on Friday. So we've really progressed, and you know, offensively, we've kind of hit a little bit of a lull. You know, you look for reasons behind that and everything, and not excuses, but you look for reasons. And I think they're there, and there's different things we're excited about doing and looking at. But, you know, one of the big things is, too, we're really in the first year of, we're not in the first year of this system. That's not accurate to say that. But with the offense and what we did last year, comparatively to what we're doing this year, you know, it takes time. It takes a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, again, it's our job as coaches to get them along and to move them forward and get them prepared. And so it's a new challenge. You face it, you look at it, you look for reasons. You know, the worst thing you can ever do is just make excuses and say whatever, but you have to look for the reason and the why behind something to fix something.
Yeah, that comment makes sense to me because, I mean, you have to build offense around the kids you have.
Mm-hmm.
And you brought in a sophomore quarterback that he's totally different than what you've had the last several years. I mean, he's a big physical kid that can throw it. So you want to maximize that. So I don't know if folks understand that or not, but it is a systematic change in the fact of now you're allowed to throw the ball.
Yeah, fully from last year, you know, and I've always believed personally as a head coach, you know, especially somewhere like at Mena where we're at is, you don't expect your kids to change your system. You need to adjust and change for your kids.
I think that makes a good coach.
And
I really do.
You know, you know, and last year that meant we were more wing T, definitely run heavy, didn't throw the ball around a whole lot more. And I think if we don't do that last year, we don't overachieve and have that season and make the playoffs like we did last year. The flip side of that, though, is you know, there is some drawbacks of it, right? Whereas we had the benefit of last year and we really helped that team overachieved and that those guys really, you know, jumped to that. Now we're in a wholesale change this year that is going to take a little bit more time because they're not so much into that system. It's a little bit harder to throw and catch the ball around year to year consistently as opposed to hand the ball off, running or everything like that. So I'm excited about where we're at. I'm excited about our quarterback. I'm excited about our receivers, our offensive line. You know, that's so the general public probably doesn't necessarily think about this, but it's hard to get back and pass it, you know, when you haven't really done that as much. So there's a lot of different factors in it. They've all done an outstanding. Coach Dover's done a good job leading these guys. And, you know, we started out probably more explosive than we have been early on with some of our opponents. And we've hit a little bit of a lull these last couple of weeks. And but again, I'm excited about where we're at, where we're going. And
well, the lull's probably aided by the competition level too.
Well,
I mean, that's,
yeah, no doubt about that. And we're still, you know, playing with, you know, obviously have several juniors out there who do have that year experience, but they're still young in what we're doing, and a couple sophomores as well. And our seniors have done a good job stepping up and making some plays, specifically on the defensive side of the ball. But it takes time, and you know, again, that's our job as coaches to get it out of them. And I have full faith in our coaches and kids, and it's gonna be there.
Sure. Well, let's take a look at Malvern. Looking forward, that's who we've got Friday night. Again, you know, kind of bookends the stretch of this 3 games that's super tough. We've all known that and talked about it. Go on the road to Malvern. We've been at home basically for a month.
Yeah, first time in a row. We only have 2 more. We go to Malvern and we go to Ashdown, 2 big ones. But great team. You know, they won us caught fire last year towards the end of the year and ended up winning the state championship. And no big deal. They just graduated like 3 kids off that team. So they brought everybody back. Great running back.
I was gonna say, found a way to return one of the best tailbacks in the
state. If you pay attention to high school football, you know who Jalen Dupree is, number 2. He's a Division I college running back, and they've got a Division I lineman, another Division I tight end kid, and quarterback that moved in for him this summer has done a good job. So really, really good football team. Um, but like everything, you go out, you prepare those kids, you get those kids. You understand. Hey, you play physical, you play like you did in that first quarter, where you're putting together sustaining drives. You're getting good stops. Even if you don't a team that's good like that Nashville team, especially like this Malvern team, they're going to get theirs, right? I mean, they're going to get some yards. They're going to score. You're not going to hold them to 0 points. I mean, that's just not feasible to sit there and say. But if you make them earn everything that they get, you hold your own sustaining drives, then you're right there in position to be successful. And we proved that early on. We just weren't able to sustain that. So we've got to put that together, put it through. And like I said, we're excited about it. I mean, it's an opportunity to play in a great environment, play one of the best teams in the state, and bring it on. So.
Pretty cool venue too.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, they've done a lot of different things there. Really nice press box. Kind of updated their area all around. They're not done. So that's a side small note. I mean, we've got a lot of cool venues, and it's kind of some big time football in this conference, and
it is. It's a big deal for sure.
So, like I said, you're always playing some of the best teams and best players in the state, and if that doesn't get you ready for the playoffs, then I don't know what will. And so, that for us is a big goal. Obviously, one of our goals was to finish in the top half of the conference, and that becomes a lot more difficult now with that Nashville loss. But our other main goal was making some noise in the playoffs, and we've gotten to a point, and the coaches and players before us have gotten to a great point of making it a standard that playoffs is expected at this
kind
point.
Of a minimum, really.
Right, and it hasn't always been that way, even going back to when me and you played and everything else. I don't know that it was always quite there, but over the last 10, 15 years, it's like you said, it's the minute, like you're expected. So now we understand it's time to start doing some more of them. We want to get there and start winning some playoff games and whatnot.
Sure.
And, like I said, our conference prepares us to do that.
No doubt about that. Well, Coach, I think that kind of tidies up, last week, this week coming. If you have a chance to make it to Malvern Friday night, looks like the weather's going to be really nice again, so there shouldn't be any excuses there. Look forward to seeing you hopefully at Malvern, and hopefully look forward to getting back on track. So appreciate you, Coach, and like I said, we look to see you all Friday night.